Welcome to the Real Estate Fight Club, a podcast for agents where you'll witness a battle of opinions about topics affecting your real estate business. Now, always in your corner, here are your hosts, Jen Mertland and Monica Weekly.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Real Estate Fight Club. This is a series that we are calling Realtor Jail, and where we talk about professional standards, committee cases, code of ethics violations. And here with me today to come visit us in jail is Rachael Real of Rachael Real Estate from Chicago. Hey, Rachael.
Hi, Jen. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad you're here with us because today, I don't know.
Do you need to be bailed out again, Jen?
Yes, of course. Obviously.
You might be. You might need it. Yeah.
I feel like if you're not getting in trouble, you're not helping the industry grow, you know?
I'm going to argue that right off the bat, we're fighting. Yeah.
We're fighting. Well, but today's topic, we are going to talk about, can you advertise a pocket listing?
All right, Jen, do you know what a pocket listing is? Let's start there. Do you know what a pocket listing is?
I think probably not. I think the way that it's used is like, I know of a house, but you may not either you have the paperwork or you don't. But you know of a house for sale, but it's not yet for sale.
Okay, so kind of. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's start with, what is a pocket listing? Okay, so if we're going to use the word pocket listing, part of that phrase is listing. So let's just start with the fact that a pocket...
Oh my God.
we're 2 words in and we're already fighting about this. So let's just start with the fact that a pocket listing has the word listing in it, which means you have a listing agreement with a seller.
You mean signed, not verbal?
Right. You have a listing agreement with a seller.
Nope.
So what is a pocket listing? In general, and again, different states, different rules, different MLS rules, different state license laws, things vary slightly. But for the most part, a pocket listing is referred to often as either an off-market listing or an office exclusive. So a pocket listing would be where a seller, for certain reasons, and generally those revolve around confidentiality, privacy, if you're a celebrity. So those are kind of your big 3 things or reasons you might engage in a pocket listing.
Finishing projects.
That would fall in a different category.
Okay.
So that would fall into something else. So a pocket listing, I'm a celebrity and I come to you and say, you know what, I want to sell my house, but I don't want any advertising. I don't want anything. I just want you, a very well-connected agent, to go and sell my property. So I don't like to compare things to TV shows, but if you look at the $1 million listing, right? Mm-hmm. They go to one of these guys who are super well connected. They know all the people. Those listings don't leave that brokerage. They don't even leave that agent most of the time. They double end it, or they have 1 or 2 other people that they have a very tight relationship with within their own brokerage, and that's how they sell it. So there's no advertising. There's no publishing it out anywhere. There's no nothing. It's top secret. So a pocket listing is between a seller, and the listing agreement is always with the brokerage. So with the designated agent. So sometimes a pocket listing will be just with that agent alone. So that listing agent will also act as the buyer's agent, a dual agency situation, or it can be within just that brokerage, but it never goes outside of there.
Why?
Again, confidentiality and privacy are the 2 big reasons.
But if I'm a well-connected agent and I have a celebrity that's hey, I want to sell my place, but you can see they don't want to advertise. They don't want people coming in.
Right.
But my connections are the real estate, all the real estate agents as a whole, regardless of brokerage.
Okay. Now you're talking about a private listing. So we have the
in Ohio, in Cincinnati.
You've got something similar to that where it's not quite on the full MLS, but it's in kind of an agent database only. So here in Illinois, we have a private listing network.
Okay.
So that's a.
Oh, I guess we do have it
where sub MLS.
We don't have that, but we have it where it's you get the listing paperwork, but then there's a form that says I don't want it on the MLS.
There you go. So that would be something very similar, and that would be a non-MLS listing. But you're seeing here, if you do a non-MLS, a seller has to sign off a bunch of waivers that say, hey, I understand that if I'm not in the MLS, these things are not going to happen for me, and I have to agree to that. But here, if you're not in the MLS, you're essentially in an office private or in an office pocket listing. So you're not advertising it to the general public. There's little to no collaboration with other brokers, which also means that there's no offer of compensation. So that's why inherently you have one agent that's well connected that is representing both sides. So when you have a pocket listing, sometimes you have the issues, some of the problems with that can be some inherent unethical behavior or
Sure.
because
And
you have
also,
dual
you're not
agency.
likely to get the best price.
Exactly. You only have one agent trying to sell the property as opposed to a database of, hundreds or thousands of agents trying to sell it, and you have no exposure, which means your likelihood for potential multiple offers or any competition over your property is minimal to none at all almost.
What about, okay, so have a friend and they say, hey, I'm not ready to list. I want to finish these things. But if you know of somebody who wants to buy it or whatever, you have a for sale by owner,
Right.
whatever. And they're like, I don't want to sign anything, but can you advertise that?
No, because
Rachel,
the only way you can
wrong answer.
I'm not going to jail on this one. You are. So if a seller is asking you to advertise their property or giving you the authority to go find a buyer, you have to have in writing that approval to do that. They're asking you to go market it by offering it to your other agents.
Email, or they sign something that says that I have the approval to market the property, and if I find a buyer, then or another agent finds a buyer or whatever, I bring the agent or bring the buyer, then this is the compensation. Can you advertise it now?
Technically speaking, more than likely, yes, because you have some written authorization, but it doesn't cover nearly enough of what it needs to cover based on the license law of the state that you operate in, more than likely. In addition to that, your brokerage probably isn't going to allow you to enter into that kind of agreement with the seller without having their approved forms that their attorneys have looked at and that cover you. And if you don't use those forms, your E&O insurance isn't going to cover you, which means now you're a giant liability.
Look, I'm just trying to sell real estate. Let's take a break.
Well, there are rules for that, Jen.
I want to blow it up. Let's take a break. Let's hear a word from our favorite partner. And when we return, we are going to see which code we violated and talk
all of them.
A few more examples.
Hey guys, Monica here. I want to talk to you about one of the favorite partnerships and tools that I have in my real estate business, and you're going to want it in your real estate business too. It's Achosa Home Warranty, the best in the business, guys. They're different. And after all, isn't that what we want? Something that finally works for our homeowners. Achosa does a couple things different, but the one thing I want to highlight right here is that they let you choose your own contractors. Yes, that's what Achosa means after all, the ability or the power to choose. And so when your homeowner has something that needs fixed, they can call their own vendor, their own contractor, and have them come in and get the quote, and right there on the spot, call the Achosa Home Warranty customer service, and they will approve the work right then and there, and your contractor can get started, and the problem can be solved, and we're out the door. Isn't that awesome? So Achosa Home Warranty, guys, here's what you need to know. We're using a code, Fight Club. Use code Fight Club when you sign your buyer or seller up, and that will give them $25 off their policy. $25 off with Fight Club. If you need to call, here's their number, 888-509-2916, 888-509-2916, Achosa, Achosa Home Warranty. Fight Club for $25. Go get it.
All right. Welcome back. Rachel, give us so we're talking about pocket listings. We're talking about private listings. We're talking about verbal conversations, no listings. We're talking about random non-legal forms that we're signing. I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff.
You're in a hot pickle right there right now is what you're in. You're swimming in the swamp. You need a life preserver.
Only if you get caught. So can you read us the codes, the main codes we're violating?
Right. So specifically, Article 3 is going to be probably your biggest one here. And Article 3 states, realtors shall cooperate with Article 9. Let me go to Article 9 here. Article 9. So, realtors, for the protection of all parties, shall assure whenever possible that all agreements related to real estate transactions, including but not limited to listing and representation agreements, purchase contracts and leases, are in writing and clear and understandable language expressing the specific terms, conditions, obligations, and commitments of each party. Copy of the agreement is to be furnished to each party upon their signing or initialing. So again, that's the code of ethics, which means that covers everyone who is a realtor in the country, regardless of your state license law and your state or your MLS rules. So that's
Okay.
the overarching thing that's going to apply to everybody.
Okay.
So again, you've got to, once you agree with that to that seller to take on the role of advertising, marketing, representing them, and if they're asking you to go publish this out to your Facebook page, do those things, you're marketing the property. So you now need to have that in writing.
Do, though, I'm just thinking this through, and what we've done in the past is you could, like, let's say you have a for sale by owner, you have let's just say a for sale by owner.
Sure.
I don't know which one. Okay. We'll do both. You have a for sale by owner and they, you want to market it, but you could exclude the people that they've shown the property to. You could do a listing agreement. You could do a short one. Say it's like, hey, give me a week. Let me see if I can find a buyer. Right?
Absolutely. Right. There's nothing that says you can. Right.
Whatever.
Right. At that point, it's a business choice for you personally if you want to take on a listing for a week. That's going to be something you can do.
There's reasons not to do it, and there's reasons to do it. Right? If this is like,
absolutely,
we've done it. If it's like a great priced house, it's exactly where we do a ton of business, because for every listing, you should be able to get like another 3 deals at least.
Exactly. Well, and here's the other thing too. You can, depending on your MLS rules and your board rules, so let's throw that out there at the beginning, you can do a different type of listing agreement where the seller can enter into listing agreements with multiple agents, and they're not tied to you specifically, in which case this would be one of those
listing.
It's kind of, well, it's not, I suppose it would be an open or a non-exclusive.
I thought we don't have that.
Well, see, the thing is the like where I'm at, the MLS won't allow you to take one of those and put it in the NLS. So you could have one, but now you can't put it in the MLS.
I don't think most brokerages won't allow an open listing.
Well, exactly, because what's in it for them at that point? But you can
how they do business around the world, though, like in Europe and Latin America, like around the world. This is how business is done. You have agents that advertising property, and they're advertising it at different prices. It's the same property. Oh, yeah. And they only get paid if they find the buyer.
Exactly. But, here we've got a system that most of the other countries in the world envy, because we have this MLS system, which has its own issues, but other countries envy this because now we have.
Yeah.
What's that?
Let's not put it on a pedestal.
No, there are some issues with it, but as an agent, I don't want to go take on a listing or try and spend a ton of time and energy and effort and money marketing a property and have 10 other agents doing the same thing.
There's a balance. Okay, so the other example is, and more likely maybe, is that you have a friend that is going to list with you, but they're like, hey, I want to finish up these projects. I'm not ready to put it on the market. You can like soft advertise it on your social media, but I don't want it on the MLS. You can call agents. Like you can do soft things, but I don't want it like basically like to
you don't want it public yet. So that's going to be a private listing. So here, that's what we're going to call a private listing. So we have this sub MLS that is a secondary database to our standard MLS. And the only difference is that private listing network doesn't publish to the third-party portal. So it doesn't publish to Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com. It doesn't go anywhere else. Agents can access that. Agents can share listings with clients as long as they're marked, yes, you can share them. So most states and most MLSs have some version of this. And this is where the clear cooperation policy came out of for NAR. Like so we all have some version of it.
Some version, yeah. You get the listing agreement signed. For us, we would mark like not on the MLS because we don't have that. But then you could cancel that when it's ready. You could cancel that agreement, restart start a new one if that made sense and you wanted to do that. I mean, there's also like coming soon that's in part of that.
Right. And that's our coming soons fall under that private listing network. So for instance, today I drove by a property on the way to my office and there's a sign in front of it. And I pull the car over and I'm looking for it on the MLS and it's not there. So now I'm annoyed. The sign's in front of it. I took a picture of the sign in front of the house and made a note of it. Looked in the MLS, it's not there anywhere. So in our area, if you're putting a sign in the yard or doing any kind of advertising, and that means public facing advertising on social media, it means talking to other agents in your office or outside of your office. Anytime you're talking about that property, it's got to be into that private network in at least 24 hours.
Are showings allowed to happen within that 24 hours?
Yes, you can do that. It just has to, the point of that being that if I have a client driving down the street and they take a picture of it and send it to me and say, hey, what do you know about this house? I can't find it anywhere. I should be able to find that property. So sure. I shouldn't be made to look like a fool because you found this house and now I can't find it. So that's the whole point of that.
My friend is trying to finish up work or whatever it is on their property. They're not ready. It's going to be in a few weeks, but they want me to try to sell it. Am I allowed to show it?
It depends on what the seller has authorized. Now, what you can't do, if they say yes, then absolutely. What the seller can't do is say, no, I don't want you to show it. But then you call them on a Sunday and say, hey, I know you're gone for the weekend. I know you're out of town. Do you mind if I show it just today? It's either all or nothing, because now you've put yourself in a position where, depending on when the person calls, if it's convenient for the seller, now I'll show it. But if it's not convenient tomorrow, now I'm not going to show it.
You could do up front that it's like, hey, I'm not ready for 2 weeks, but you can show it this day and the next 2 weeks and this time.
Exactly. You just can't tell one agent, yes, we're showing it, and then tell another agent, no, we're not showing it.
You know what? I hope what people are learning here is that if you want the right answer, you call Rachel. If you want the great answer and you want to
call Jen,
then you call me. And that's just,
and I'll be free and out of jail.
Houses. Rachel's a broker.
Free and out of jail.
She's gonna tell you no. But look, you're a risk taker. You started your own business. Let's see what we come up with.
But to your point, you've started your own business, but you opted to get into a business where there is license law and the code of ethics. And do you know what those are there for?
No, because I don't read them.
They are there to protect the public from us. And protect the public from the craziness of this business.
We're going to go down a huge rabbit hole on this.
We might be, but they're there to maintain the integrity of the business. So if I, in a listing appointment, well, in general, I would say yes. So if I meet with a seller and the seller says, hey, I want you to, can you put a sign up in my yard now and just show it when it's convenient for me? And do X, Y, and Z. And one agent that they meet with says, yeah, we can do that. We can just, I'll mark it no showings, but if something's convenient, then we can do it, blah, blah, blah. And now I come in as the second agent and they ask me the same thing. And I say, well, no, in order for me to do that, I need to have a listing agreement. If you don't want to sign, that's fine. But if you want to show it, it's either, yes, we're going to make it available for everyone to show or not available for anyone to show.
You can decline showings.
You can, but I'm saying you can't just say it's available for showings in general to one agent and not to another.
You can also say, but you can also say it is available during these days and times.
Absolutely. Yes, we are showing this property, or in general, we're not showing it, because there's two different categories. If a seller's getting ready to list their house, but they're doing some projects and don't want a showing until then, that's fine. Then right now you're saying, in general, we're not showing this until X date. So going back to that, if a seller hears two different answers from two different agents, they're going to be confused, number one. And number two, they're going to think, well, one just doesn't want to work and the other one's willing to do whatever I ask them to do, and that's fine.
Right.
But that person who's saying, yeah, I'll just do whatever you want, isn't abiding by the license law or the code of ethics. And they're creating a little bit more chaos for everyone else.
Chaos. Well, Rachel, I think that's going to have to wrap it up for us today. If people want to send you a referral in Chicago or they have questions for you, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way to reach me is by cell phone at 630-542-8688 or on via email at ourreal@dealwithreal.com.
Awesome. And if you are looking to join Monica and I and partner with us, feel free to give me a call or a text at 513-400-1691. All right. Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Jen.